campaign.
Hey, those campaign guys.
Now in the last day, so
I don't know.
the last yeah, the last day ya kufanya campaign. Hujakula? Okay, hata mimi sijakula pesa. Hi everybody, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good midday, good wherever you are listening to us from. My name is Amisa Rashid. I'll be moderating this amazing panel. And today we are here talking about mental health matters organized by Youth Engagement Society. It's a summit, they usually have it annually. And some of the objectives of the summit are to engage and leverage youth for solution to local and global issues, to inspire and better inform youth to pursue dreams and lives of fulfilled aspirations, and finally to empower youth through connection with successful role models like the people who are here, amazing people, by providing resources and opportunities to network, discuss and interact with leaders, again leaders, and young professionals, again, from various settings and careers. So as you are starting, I'm going to give, I know them by their name. I know there's Maureen, there's Boera, there's Kare, and there's Manolo, but I'm going to give them an opportunity for them to introduce themselves. They should tell us who they are, what they are doing, especially in this mental health space, and then we can officially start our conversation around this matter. So where should I start from?
Ladies first.
Well played.
So lucky I can use that here today, like everything.
Okay, Maureen, let's start with you.
Okay, my name is Maureen Gikonyo. I currently work with Cities Rise as the Youth League, Nairobi. Cities Rise is a global platform that focuses on policies and practices, bettering policies and practices, currently in 5 cities, 4 countries. We're in Nairobi, Kenya, we're in Sacramento and Seattle in the US. We're in Chennai in India, and we're in Bogota in Colombia. Yeah. Have you visited all the cities? I have visited Chennai. I'm yet to visit Seattle, Sacramento, and Bogota.
Ish. Those names are fun. Okay, we go to Boera.
Well, those names. My name is Boera Bisieri. I am a mental health advocate. I work with Invishe, which is a mental health advocacy organization here in Kenya. It's based in Kibera. And we have different programs, and I'm a lead for teenage mothers. So I work with teenagers who have children. And it's been a nice experience, and I'm glad that I am here. I'm looking for the cities to mention, but I won't mention the cities I've gone to. But yeah, I'm glad to be here and to have this amazing conversation with you.
Like the way you put my name. My name is Kare, but if you send me money, it is Josephine Masharia. I'm the founder of Bluegrass Solutions, curator of Pit Stop Forum, a mental health advocate, and the author of, if you don't mind me saying, Your Mental Health is a Priority. And for me, I think it's all about normalizing the conversation on mental health and making it okay, and per se giving people permission to say it's not okay to be okay, and that we all are dealing with something. So let's talk about it. So glad to be here.
Thank you. We'll have to listen more or to hear more about what this book is, because it has an amazing cover. So I'm sure most of our viewers are also wondering what is it and what inspired it. So we'll come back to that conversation.
Awesome.
Manolo?
Yep, my name is Manolo. I'm a gospel musician from Nairobi, Kenya.
Yay.
Yes, and also I'm a founder of Siko Solo Initiative, which is an initiative just aimed at creating mental health awareness and just piggybacking on that, making sure that this conversation about mental health is had right from the source, from the family setup. Yeah, that's what we're all about.
Okay,
Yeah.
Asante. I wanted to ask you, before we continue, because this one thing we usually talk in the mental health space is when people hear mental health, they associate it with a lot of negativity, and just to make our conversation lively so that people can see that, okay, when you're talking mental health, you're not that serious, unless if it is serious issues. We are going to start with one fact that you like about yourself, or one fact that you like about yourself. One fact that you like about yourself. No, I'm starting with the gentleman now this time.
Yes.
Tuko Kakamega, tuko Kenya. One fact I like about myself is that I have a willingness to learn. I don't fear learning. Yeah. I like that about myself.
Awesome.
Not what you're expecting.
No, I did not have any expectation at all,
All right.
because you know yourself better. So yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I like about myself, let's say one, because said we have fun. One thing I like about myself is that I like fun. Like I'm that person who is always listening to loud music, dancing wherever I am. So that's a thing people may not know about me, but I always bring fun and ensure everything I do has to have a fun element.
Oh, yeah. We've clearly.
Now, I feel like I need to say this. So she came in. No, she wasn't last. She came in last.
She came in
Yeah.
last.
And we were
Yeah.
just seated, and then she came in and she was like, "You guys are not celebrating me. I'm going to go out and come back again. And you guys celebrate me." And she did it. And we had to celebrate her.
So what do you love about Boera?
What I love about Boera is that I really know how to balance things. Like if I am dealing with people who love fun, man, I'm the fun person. If we are wearing this first, then we wear the first, so I know how to mingle. But I have to say one thing that I also love about myself is I can fear doing something, but then I just still do it. And then I'm doing it perfectly. Like I'm afraid, but I'm doing it, and it ends up being good.
Awesome. Maureen?
No, every time I'm asked questions about myself, I'm like, oh my God, do I even know? Do I even know myself, But I think the one thing that I love about myself, just looking back, is I am very resilient. Oh boy, I have taken it. I have taken it. So I am just glad that I am this far.
Wow.
So our conversation today is around mental health, and I'm sure for a lot of people, they don't even understand what mental health is, because I know we've interacted with people. Even for us, when the first time we bumped into this word mental health, we had some certain description or perspective of it. So I want us to give a brief understanding from our own perspective. What do we understand mental health is, so that our viewer or somebody who is listening to us can be able to identify. So we are not just here saying, oh, we are talking about mental health, and maybe nobody has a clue what mental health is. Or we can use also this opportunity to demystify the understanding of what mental health is. And I'll start with Kare, because she has a book written around mental health. So you can help us unpack what mental health is from your own understanding, and also what inspired you writing this book. And for us, feel free to jump in because it is not a solo conversation. Yeah, we said we are demystifying that mental health is something serious, so let's have this conversation the way it's supposed to be done.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for that question. I think, and I'll try and simplify it so that I'm not using a lot of jargon. I think mental health, what I think I know, mental health is a spectrum. So on the one end, you can be unwell, and then on the other end, you're well. So it's natural for all of us to have seasons in our lives where we move through the spectrum. So there are seasons where you're okay, other seasons you're stressed, maybe there's anxiety, there's depression, and then to the other extreme, then you come back and you're okay. So that is normal. So that's one we need to normalize, that the minute you have a sign of depression, it's not like, oh my goodness, this is the end of the world. No, what is not normal is for you staying in one place for too long. Then if you stay in one place for too long, again, it's not a death sentence, it's to then get help and find out what kind of support do you need to then be able to allow you to deal with the stressors, the anxiety, the depression, so that then you have a normal, whatever that is, life.
So in short, what you're saying is that for mental health, it's like any other health-related issue, like for physical health. The way you can take care of your physical health and be healthy, and if you don't take care of yourself, you can be unhealthy, and when you go to the hospital, you become sick.
Absolutely.
So it's the same way with mental health. If you take care of your mental health, you'll be on this side of the spectrum, and if you don't, you'll be on the other side of the spectrum.
Yes.
Maureen, do you have anything to add on that?
I think for me, I look at it in a holistic approach, because truth be told, as human beings, we cannot avoid challenges.
True.
So for me, mental health is how I am able to cope with daily challenges, how I am able to even work productively, how I'm able to participate or to, what is this word? To participate and to contribute to my own community, and how I'm able even to connect with my own self outside the community. So it's like inner to outward, So for me, mental health is how I'm able to cope with daily challenges. Because most of the time, of course, when we hear the term mental health, it's always going to the
extreme.
to the negative side. But how, I think we need to start thinking about how do we define physical health, then how do we define mental health? Because this is like the word health is there. So what exactly is health? So for me, it's how I am able, or how a human being is able to cope with their daily challenges, how they're able to work productively, how they are able to relate with themselves, relate with their communities. So it's more of inner, then social, then environmental.
Now, I know these people behind the scenes. So I know Boera is a creative, and I know Manolo is a creative also. So I want to understand what is the definition, or what is the understanding of mental health from the creative perspective, because they interact with creatives, and most of the time when you have this conversation around mental health, we tend to forget the creatives, and yet they're the people who sometimes go through some mental health issues, because to be honest, in Kenya as a creative, they're not that appreciated, so you can imagine. So maybe you can help us understand, like in the field that you're in, music, Boera is an actor. By the way, he's an actor. So, actress.
No, just call me an actor.
An actor, okay, king. So maybe if you can help us understand your definition of or understanding of mental health from the spaces you're from.
I mean, just to piggyback on what both of you have said, it's just, for me, how well motivated are you to do what you do, to live, to keep on living? How well motivated are you to keep doing that thing? What's that level of motivation that you have every single day to keep going, to keep chasing? And as a creative, for me, it's to create, So from now looking at mental health from my side is just good mental health, or just when I'm at an optimum, is when I have that willingness to create every single day, to keep going, like I'm motivated to keep creating, to keep giving and giving to the world.
Thank you. Boera?
For me, my definition of mental health, I think she used just about the words I want to use. is your emotional and your psychological and even social well-being.
Yeah.
You know, the three of them brought together, and then the well-being, and then how it affects how you feel, how you think, and how you act.
Yeah.
So for any creative, your creative juices are pumped by your feelings, your thoughts, and then it brings forth the action. So he said, Manolo said, it is how he's meant to, when he's at his best, he writes and writes and writes. But for me, I can write. When I write a lot, for example, I feel like doing a monologue. I feel sometimes it's when I'm low and I'm like, I need to go up. So I will do a monologue and feel better. But sometimes I'm so hyped, then I'll do a monologue and feel good. So I can't exactly tell when I'm writing that it's because I'm at my best. Sometimes it's also because I'm at my worst. Yeah.
That's true.
Okay.
But you're still
I think,
expressing.
yes.
But I'm still expressing,
Yeah.
yes.
And I think just
I'm
to
still giving,
giving,
like he said,
Yeah.
I'm still giving.
I think she's brought out something where for creatives at times they get a lot of flack, because at times when you're at your lowest is when you're most creative, right?
Yeah.
So is it that I'm looking forward to being depressed or to being, you get, so it's such a...
Actually, I saw a meme, sorry, I have to bring it up, saying, you guys were saying when you date musicians, break those hearts, we want good music.
Oh no, yeah.
And I laughed, I was like,
So I think
we need to break your heart,
you know, for inspiration.
I don't know.
Yeah.
For you, Karen, like you've spoken passionately about the aspect of when you are down is when you bring out the best of your work, and you have a book. So when you're writing some part of the chapters or coming up with it, have you come across that experience? You're in your worst and then you came up with a masterpiece or a chapter? Yeah, something like that.
Absolutely, I like that question. So you just call my book a masterpiece. I will take it, and I am owning it. But on a serious note, I think there was one chapter, I think it's chapter 4 in the book, and it's titled, You're Not Crazy. And that was the hardest chapter to write, because then it meant if I'm writing a book about mental health, I have to be vulnerable, I can't come out like the person so step 1, you need to do, no. So I had to go to places in my life that I had refused to deal with, I'd refused to heal, and I'd put a band-aid, and I was there like, me niko tu sawa. But I knew starting that chapter, because of the content of the chapter, I needed to go to places that I had been avoiding, places where I had convinced myself I'm okay. So that was hard. And to answer your question, it is hard, it was hard, and it continues to be hard based on what projects you're working on. But I think it's that boldness and that courage of knowing that it's not the pain or where I am, you need to think of the end result. For me, I kept saying, for me not to write this chapter, it means that other people who need to get the help are not going to get it because of me choosing to remain with my head buried.
And I think that brings us to an important conversation, because I know we are going to unpack a lot of mental health issues. And before we even go to understanding what mental health issues are there affecting us as Kenyans, as youth in these spaces, what are some of the things that brings up mental health? Because I know most of the time we've interacted with it whereby somebody has mental health issues, and either because of understanding or not understanding, we will say that it is genetic or they've inherited it. That is usually like, I can give a good example. I did not want to mention some mental illnesses until we get to that, but I can give a good example. We've seen like people who are psychotic. Psychotic are wale wenye tukionaga kwa barabara, we call them mad people or crazy people. And I'm hoping that we're in this space, we can start to intentionally look at how we are naming these mental health words, because they are causing more harm than actually
help.
Because if somebody is mad because they have a certain mental illness, we'll call them akona kicha ama ni mwenda wazimu. And you know it's a hard work for us in these spaces, because we are bringing more harm than that. But I think it's we just have to continue with our awareness work. But that aspect of one of the main causes of mental health is genetic. Like but is it all the mental health issues, or what are some of the mental health what are some of the root causes of mental health issues that you know, apart from genes? The floor is open to anyone, the cleverest. So let's see.
Then all of us will talk.
I think everyone has something to say.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, you can start, Maureen. You can start.
I mean, I'm going to talk about, because I know they will talk about other issues. But for me, I want to look at it like on the lens of the social determinants of health, you know. So there's education, you know, there's that illiteracy level, and I mean, some people get good education and some, you know, because of other reasons, they tend not to get one. So there's that illiteracy level, and there's also you know, things that are happening right now around the world, food insecurity, you know, and then there's also something that I feel like is really affecting young people in our country right now, unemployment. You know, and unemployment leads to lack of an income or instability, you know, that kind of instability. And I think most of the time we don't think that instability of money, there's something like that, affects people. And there's also that other kind of instability, like your upbringing, you know, like the environment in which you've been raised in, causing a lot of trauma, you know. And also there's, I think this plays really a major part, and I'm going to stop here so that the rest can speak. The part of stigma and discrimination, you know. One time you're going through things and you want to speak about it, it's not yet escalated to be like a mental health issue. You want to talk about it, but you know, people don't want to listen because they're judging you, you know. So I think stigma and discrimination also contributes
To mental health issues.
Yeah.
So does that mean that if somebody comes up or comes out and say that they have a mental health issue, let's say they're depressed or they have anxiety, and then I tend to question that anxiety, or I just brush it down and tell them, oh, it's just sadness. If it is depression, it is just sadness. What will feel evil? People usually feel that way. Will that be a determinant or a cause reason for somebody to have a mental health issue?
Yes, because you are invalidating somebody's feelings. Yeah.
So where do we draw the line? Because where do we draw the line of knowing that I'm supposed to acknowledge somebody, validate somebody feeling, empathize with them, and where do I draw the line of knowing that, okay, this is actually one mental health issues is personality disorders, but people who have personality disorders, they tend to use emotions to victimize, to actually cause harm to people. So where am I supposed to draw the line to know, okay, Maureen has an issue, I'm supposed to empathize with her, or she's just pretending?
That's a difficult question.
Anybody can jump in to
Yes, but I first of all feel like the first thing people need to do is listen to people. Whether they're using it, I don't want to say whether they're using it to manipulate you or not, but I feel like we need to start listening to people more. So where we draw the line is when you feel like this is total manipulation, like somebody is invalidating your feelings, or they are using your feelings against you, and now they're making it look like they're the victim, you know. So when you see that is happening, then that is manipulation. That's gaslighting someone.
Okay, thank you.
I think there's also a place where we need to be educated on how to unpack and know the feelings, because if you're coming to speak to someone and they're not aware of all this, they may not know, like she was saying, where to draw the line. So there's a place where we need to be educated so that I know beyond this place, now they're not pretending, it's actually above my grade, for lack of a better word, I need to get them help. But if you're not educated to that level, you'll either dismiss a person, trivialize, and what you're saying, invalidate their feelings. So there's a place for a lot of education and awareness creation.
Yeah, I could say that right now there's a lot of scattered information in the world about mental health and mental health issues, like Google Doctor, just click of a button, you get everything. Oh, this is depression.
Psychology.
Exactly. And so I mean, as much as it has led to the conversation just being there, and people now, you know, subconsciously now this word, I've seen it before, this depression. A problem that it has created is self-diagnosing. So there are many people who are coming, man, I think I'm depressed. And they're using this term so loosely.
Yeah.
And I feel like now where you draw the line is usiniambie uko depressed. Twende, get diagnosed.
Absolutely.
Yes, let's see.
Yeah.
What are the experts saying? What are the psychiatrists saying? What's the psychology saying?
Yeah.
Are you in therapy? Like, let's pick it up from there instead of just now, I'm helping my friend, she has anxiety. You know, we just
Said who,
bandika too.
But actually some mental illnesses, you know, Kenya, I'm glad that we are starting to pick up the conversations and awareness and services around that. But some mental illnesses, like let's say ADHD. ADHD, it is not well, like there's not a lot of researchers around it. And for you even to decide that, to know that I'm having this, it's hard for you because you think you're a mad person because you have those tendencies. You forget things a lot, you overtalk when people, you're hyperactive and what. And if they're not enough diagnoses to tell you that uko hivi, that means that you have to self-educate and then go and tell somebody, like, I feel like I have this and this and this.
I think it's good to educate yourself. It's good to look like what are the symptoms of depression, what are the symptoms of bipolar, what are the symptoms of ADHD. But the one thing that I think I will back up Manolo on is you cannot self-diagnose.
Exactly, that's a problem.
So you're saying there's a difference between self-educating
and self-diagnosing.
Exactly.
It's psychoeducation.
Have you seen?
And because, just to add on to what they're saying, what then happens is after you've self-diagnosed yourself, we then tend to see an addiction to over-the-counter medication because it worked, and maybe your case was not medication. Maybe yours was exercise, maybe yours was talking therapy. So now one small thing has escalated to now a dependency, which then leads to, I mean, so it's sad, you start spiraling, yet it was something that could be dealt with.
The most common one I've seen is unapenda tu kausafi. It's just like
OCD. Imagine your hate. That's us. Welcome to my world.
And when you really look into OCD, it's on a severe level. Like you can't function when things are just, you know, when you Exactly.
So
throwing around words. Kare just said that someone said this weather is bipolar.
Yeah, why do you say that? That's so.
Because 1 minute
it's hot. So already, what have we done? That person who actually has a bipolar condition is just trivialized, and made it look like
it's not a big issue.
So I think we need to notice that there are specialists for these things. It's like you going to an airport and saying this plane has a problem when you're a teacher.
Yes.
You get
Yes.
We should know that the specialists for the people that should actually say diagnose you so that you come and tell me I'm depressed or I have anxiety.
Exactly. And that's it's a problem I have with everyone who just throws that term on their bio pale. Mental health advocate. Mental health advocate.
No, and you know one thing I realize, and I usually get mad around it, especially in the Kenyan Twitter space. You find that somebody is a mental health advocate, but the things that they post even, and you're wondering what, like they're total opposite of what they're. So if I'm looking for somebody to learn from in terms of mental health, and I go and I see that they're being all these kind of toxic things, that they're the ones that they heard people speaking about it.
Exactly. And there's no shame in just saying, you know, I'm in this space, but I'm learning.
That's true.
That was a big thing for us even at Solo, because I was saying, hey, I'm a musician. I don't know anything I didn't study psychology. I don't know this thing. I would love to learn, but you know what I'll do? I'll talk about this. I'll be loud about it, but I'll bring experts on our IG lives. I'll bring experts on our podcast. I'll bring psychologists certified. Akiongea sasa tunasema this one is from the book now, this one is true, and you know, we'll let them educate us and help us learn, but I won't be there studying at night hapo niko and then in the morning I'm coming to
More
recite for
Kenya.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think just to add on to what he was saying and to circle back to a question you'd asked, I think it also boils down to our culture. So our culture is this thing of everyone wants to front the expert. And disclaimer, if you're watching this video, we are not those mental health advocates. We are the legit ones. Anyway, I was saying, I think there's a place where our culture, I know,
No, I'm an expert. Like, so if we're having this conversation, new people will have to
exactly, yeah.
information.
I think there is a place where societal pressure can also bring about mental health conditions, if I may call them that way, because there is pressure to always look a certain way, be a certain way. So imposter syndrome, like I need to act like I'm doing, I'm driving this car at the expense, it doesn't matter what I did to get there, yeah? So I think that also, like you're saying, you want to masquerade and be there like, oh, by the way, I'm an expert, that's why I started this podcast. There's no shame in being real and being authentic and being vulnerable. So I think even the way we were cultured, especially if you're, because we are 4 generations, so there are baby boomers, Gen Xers, millennials, and Gen Z. Especially the Gen X and baby boomers, there was always pressure for when I meet Maureen, where are you working now? We are always sizing each other up, and we see that also today. What's your follow account on social media? Like, you're never good enough, So that comparison carries itself and translates in how I don't want to talk about my mental health condition. And if I do, I'd rather say I'm an advocate so that I don't disclose that actually it's me who needs that.
Exactly. You wanted to jump
No, I
in?
just wanted to, like, I don't know if it's Manolo or it's Kare who said, how we are, I mean, when we get sick physically, we go to the doctor, right? We don't start like, okay, we do, but I mean, eventually you do go to the hospital. So I think that's why we need to look at mental health, just like we're looking at physical.
I like
We
that.
need to give it the
Yeah.
same priority
True.
we are
Exactly.
giving to physical.
Absolutely.
I actually read somewhere, somebody saying that the way if somebody discloses that they have cancer and they're going through the treatment, people will form WhatsApp group and Changa accounts and start contributing towards their process. Why can we start the same thing around mental health when here somebody's going through that, and we know mental health illnesses the treatment are so expensive. Why can't we join hands and support these people and not give up on the way? Because what we usually say, in the first step we'll be there, and then after that we leave this person. So how can we start being intentional, involved around each other's?
Exactly. And that's why I celebrate each one of you here, because we need to talk about this. We need to do it in our time. It's right now.
It's true. It's true.
These stigmas, and that I'm just answering what you're saying. Why can't we come together and mchanga? It's because there's so many. There's just a stigma around.
That's
this
the
thing.
thing.
And people are like, mental health needs a mababi. Kwa ground, people are like, hey, we have bigger issues here.
Yes.
I'm just like, you're losing out on productivity.
Absolutely.
You're missing out on opportunities, and you've said this, you've written this in your book, or it's a caption somewhere for you. You're saying if your mind is the one that's supposed to help you, it's do all these other things like work,
Exactly.
grow and everything, then don't you think you need to focus on that mind?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
It's like the engine, and I like what you're saying, and also the way our culture, being Africans, let me generalize. Mental health has always, or ill health has always been a secret disease. Like, people hide you. We know of people who would hide families where that family, we know they have someone who is crazy, so they hide them. I think it begins with us being unashamed and not hiding our people. And then to your point, it's also the way we talk about it. If I meet Manolo today and he's not looking well, I ask him, what's wrong? To your point, he says he has a homa. They're like, oh, I hope you get well better. But imagine if he has malaria. He doesn't say, I have malaria disorder. Are you getting? I mean, even the way we make it look like it's such a huge thing, and oh my goodness. Another analogy I also say is, today if I ask you, do you know of a good gynecologist? I'll get numbers. Do you know a good pediatrician? I'll get numbers. Do you know of a good... Shh, don't even ask that. Or we need to to stop being ashamed and asking guys to be quiet. Because on the one hand, you're saying, please don't suffer in silence. Don't take your life. Talk about it. Then when you talk about it, like you are saying, bado haijaisha, like it's, you know, like I imagine we are tired, now you're being needy, now you're looking for attention. Which is which?
I've had that before.
Which goes to my second. One thing that we guys I wanted us to talk about is how we can be. What are some of the, what is it called, myth and misconception around mental health? And you've mentioned severally, but Boera, can you maybe if you have examples of some of the myth and misconceptions that we have in our societies around mental health that you would want us to start demystifying them?
Yeah, that's a good question.
One of the biggest myths that I think we have is when someone is not mentally okay, mostly in our societies, we would think they were maybe cursed or something. And this brings me to some of the cultures that we have, which maybe we don't exactly practice at our age, but maybe boomers would practice, who might be our parents or our elder sisters. Is, for example, where I come from, when someone dies by suicide, they are not buried with respect.
Yes.
Oh no.
Like someone who dies a natural death. As a matter of fact, they are hidden. One, they won't say that they died. It's done so fast. Okay, burials being done fast in other places is normal, but where I come from, it's not. So you'll be buried so fast and you'll be buried at night, and no one should cry in your burial because you died by suicide. So that in itself would think it's just our culture. But then if there's someone that is going through mental health issues right now, that is seeing that, is already stigmatizing them, is making them feel they're not okay, you know. So those are some of the misconceptions that I think we have, and one of the major ones, and I think we should actually demystify them and work on them. That dying by suicide does not exactly mean you are cursed or the ancestors are not happy with you. It just means you are sick.
Yeah, and didn't get the support you needed. That's true. So sad.
I think just you know, just also elaborating on what she's talked about culture. You know, like I think the one thing our culture is that there's one gender that you know we keep putting aside, you know, the male. So men should not cry, should not express their emotions. They're raised to, you know, to be strong, to be leaders, to be this and that. So it's like we have literally made them robots. But men are also human beings. They have emotions, just like everyone else has. So I think that's one thing we need to demystify. You know, it's okay to, I don't want to say it's okay not to be okay, because it's not okay not to be okay, you know, but it's okay to admit that you're not okay.
To express your emotions.
Yeah, to express your emotions. So can we like normalize that even with the men, you know?
And even I think on the gender aspect, even for women, because I think women, especially young girls, we've been brought up to seeing some emotions not to be okay, whereby in order for you, women, like, you can be labeled an angry, bitter black woman just because you express your emotions. Because we've been cultured as women not to be outspoken, not to, when you're angry, you're supposed just to downsize it and downplay it and say
take it in.
Take it in.
Like women can take it, you know, but I don't think that's possible.
It's not possible. And then when you are able to do that, now all the shame and guilt and everything comes to you. So I think we, as a society, we have a lot to unpack when it comes to emotions and and I usually say there is no negative or positive emotions. Emotions are emotions. They're just there to help you realize that there is something that it triggered you to have that emotion, and you can look into it.
I think also, like, sorry,
that's okay.
Like, just to add on her point of women, like, women are not supposed to speak. Like, if you're going through abuse or you're going through all these things, especially when you are in relationships, you're not supposed to speak about them. But why? Why won't you speak about them? Because the more you keep it in, the more it's becoming like a burden, the more it's building up and building up and building up. And unpacking that is
I don't think it's an easy process.
Mm-mm.
They say mwanamke ni kuvumilia.
We don't
Na
watch
kunyamaza.
And then
Yeah.
that thing they give us that, okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to say that, but I think that thing of a home is made by a woman.
So you're expected
It's a
to
lot of
take
pressure.
everything.
And you're not supposed
And
to speak about
Yes.
it. Because the moment you go out there, wewe ni msichana wa moshene.
Or now religious people can use that
Yeah.
to subjugate you. Okay.
It's okay.
Sorry.
Just going to go there.
Welcome back.
Anyway, we started that conversation.
Yeah.
but
Thank you so much for having me back.
It boils down to the bars that we set for men and
And
the
the
bars
bars
that we set for women.
Yeah,
So
it's
sometimes they're very extreme
Yeah.
and they work against us women and against men.
A reality
differently.
check, Yani, is that
Differently.
you go on social media, like maybe TikTok. I saw it the other day. Someone was saying you just search men suck, hashtags, zimeja, billions. You can't even use women suck. You can't post.
You can't,
Yeah.
it's true.
You can't actually even post. And so I was like, okay.
Like
It's
the
the world we
bars
live
say.
in.
Yeah, but I guess also
Yeah.
that's also a lot of what they're saying, many years of being suppressed and you're not able to talk, you're not given permission to just say that, hey, work-life balance is a lie. You want me to raise the children, you want me to take it, like it's a lot, yeah? So that pressure comes out in form of anger and
Think about it,
bitterness.
even in those generations that you mentioned, you know, the boomers and all that, you know, you look at those guys, even us to some extent, millennials and all that, like, we're not, for the men, we're not prepared to live with a woman who's earning more than you. No one taught you that. Yeah. And for the ladies now, flip side, our sisters are not prepared to live with a guy who he's earning maybe half of what you're earning. And, you know, now you're kind of sort of the breadwinner. If you guys are going to move, depends on you sana.
Yeah.
You know, and we were not prepared for that. And so now, tukiwekwa kwa nyumba pamoja, chaos.
I like that you brought that conversation up because I was wondering, we are in the youth summit. You're talking about youth, and one of the, I think Maureen touched on it when you're speaking about the issues of things that brings up mental health issues causes. One of them is social issues, unemployment. And a lot of youth in Kenya, actually globally, but we in Kenya, so we'll speak about Kenya, are going through a lot of mental health issues in regards to unemployment. And now from what Manola is saying, unemployment now is not only lacking the job, the employment itself, it's the expectations that comes with the employment. Let's say, for instance, you are the youth, you are a young person, but you are the person your family were toiled to take you to university. So that means whether you like it or not, you are the breadwinner of all your siblings. You have to make sure your siblings have to go through education, and that means it will give you mental illness because you're not living your developmental stage because you've taken the responsibility.
Even your peers.
Yeah.
Your peers are moving.
Yeah.
There's something you're lacking because you have kona mzigo unabeba.
And also society, remember, the generation before millennials and Gen Z or Gen Z are the ones who are told, so many vijana, you get like read, like there was a plan, education, then you get a good job, you get the corner office and everything. So right now we are seeing millennials and Gen Z who are highly educated, masters, all that level. So there's a place of, you guys played us. We've done our part. We did the exams. We've done everything. Now we are coming out to a world that was not ready for us. What do you mean you are not ready for us? How could you not have prepared for us? So they are also jaded, and there's also a lot of disillusionment because then that is attached to your identity. One of the things we keep saying, which is not even funny, nowadays you have a lot of, you know how you meet someone and they're at a function and they're like, I'm a stay-at-home mom. We have a lot of stay-at-home millennials, not by choice, but because circumstances do not accord them that, So I think there's a place where we underestimate how, and I don't know who said that, it's such a key developmental stage that when you remove it, can you imagine studying so hard all your life only to come out and you're told, just join the crowd, you're about 1 million of you. No,
On that note, I really think we should also focus on this group that has just finished campus in their home for a year. I think they are marginalized group just like these other groups because most people, when you're done with the university and you're home and you know you're thinking, I'll get a job, and you're applying for jobs and everything, and nothing is coming by.
Yeah.
These people that are in that your session here, you've just graduated and you don't have a job, they really go through some mental issues.
They do.
Yeah.
I know someone that told me, I'm stressed. My God, I'm stressed. I'm like, why are you stressed? I'm graduating. I'm like, it's supposed to be
They're
a good
happy.
thing. But I know
So
it's not,
sad.
because
Yeah.
I went through it myself. And one day I was walking in town and I met a friend of mine that we were with at the university, and he was those vocal people and charming. And I looked at him and he wasn't talking. Like, you know, you've met someone, you don't think that he's stressed at that time, but he has turned out to be this person that doesn't say much. He's running away. And I noticed it's because what the world has shown him after the university.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a job. His parents are not providing for him anymore, because I mean, you're not a student, you don't have the student level anymore.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
he's
no.
been disappointed after
Yeah.
the university, and it has changed his entire being. He's not even talking anymore. He's not throwing jokes, and he's a totally different person because of what he went through after
Yeah.
finishing university. And I think we should focus on that group of people.
No, we need
Exactly.
What
to.
should we do now
I
that
mean,
it's there?
just-
What are the solutions?
Generally,
question.
just first of all, just advise people, think like this. Don't think like this.
Yeah.
Don't think, I'm studying med, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to just think like this.
Mm.
What do you have in your hand? What's your skill set? Yeah.
You can say.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think,
no,
I think as we're talking about that, can we talk about academic pressure?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like, you know,
Yeah.
in schools there's that extreme, you know, I'm just gonna be, you know, just blunt and say what went on during our time. So, like, you would see that the top students would be placed in one class. The
Yes.
others.
You need your
You need us guys.
Did you guys used to have that indexing?
The others would be
Group
placed
A,
on the
group what?
others.
Yeah.
And I have no idea at all why the attention used to go on those who are top performers.
As opposed to the others.
Yes.
That's true.
As opposed to the others.
Inequality
Because,
in education.
yes, and you know what, we are like breeding like low self-esteem in others, and a very dangerous, I don't know if there's a word like that, but a very dangerous high self-esteem.
And
Yeah.
entitlement.
Yes.
Because,
Exactly.
for instance, if I was an A student
Yeah.
through university,
Yeah.
high school, everything,
Yeah.
and then I come out and I don't have a job, what do you
Exactly.
mean?
What do
I
you-
used to
what do you
perform
mean?
And
well.
there are
Yeah.
many
I did
people
my
who are going
part.
through
Yeah.
that. So many. Just what you've mentioned right now.
Yeah.
A student, everything. Mimi nilikuwa napita. Wako hapo, nothing.
Nothing.
You have nothing that you're doing. And so, for me, it's just telling people, think like this.
Yeah, and
Why don't
And
you?
then
totally
also,
agree with
yeah.
Manolo. Like, when are we gonna start like nurturing talents of our kids in
Yeah.
schools? When are
Yeah,
we gonna start teaching them about financial literacy, all these
exactly.
things, and not only narrow it down to maths, English, Kiswahili, whatever other subjects are there, but when are we gonna do life skills?
Yeah.
Like
I
a
like
holistic
how the
approach.
Ministry of Health came up with
Yeah.
people joining TVET. But you know the downside of it is that you cannot be championing, sorry Ministry of Health, you cannot be championing, so Ministry of Education, you cannot be championing people to go to TVET institution, but yet when this high paid job come, you are favoring these individuals who scored high. So
Yeah.
that means that you're just giving these people like leftovers, just do something after university.
Yeah.
So my question is also, how can we just, even in the system, the policies, how can we be intentional to make education quality so that whichever my grade is, I can be able to gain something out of that
I
situation?
think it boils down to what Manolo was saying, because whether you go to a group of schools, whether
Yeah.
you're in 844, I
Yeah.
think the principle is teach your child to be an all-rounded person.
Yes.
Because a part of the depression happening in the group Bisiera was talking about is people who've graduated and then before COVID, you knew your job was needed. Now, it's not, it's extinct. So you just wasted 4 years, a skill that can no longer be used. So now you're thinking, it's almost like, are we undoing that and starting from scratch, yeah? So I think there's a place where what Manolo was saying is, even if I'm doing medicine, let me be look into my creative side. Let me also try learning other skills and being open.
Yeah.
And I keep
Exactly.
saying, long ago we used to say ignorance is bliss. Now, instead of always, I hope we're not in trouble, Netflixing and chilling, educate yourself, that you can learn a lot of those skills without having to sit in a class, yeah? So I think it's just how you use your mind, your time, and your data.
Because at the end of the day, I mean, we're talking about a job opportunities. The end goal is not the job. The end goal is you earn so that you can live the life that you want to live. And money is attracted by skill. If you skill at something, that's why I like the way you're saying, you know, learn new skills, learn new skills. And skill, a good friend of mine just the other day told me skill is a function of what? Talent and education, knowledge. You know, just learning that. You have talent, you have knowledge. So just grow those two. And one way or another, you're bound to find something that will earn you income.
I think just to cement what you're saying, you know, for me, I'm an actor, she said, and I started acting in high school, and it was a big deal for my folks because they started thinking because I'm acting somehow I will not work or I will not school, like somehow she saw me. I don't know how these things are. People think like that. But then when I finished campus, I never got a job for what I want, like a corporate job for 4 years. But I lived by acting for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
It paid my rent for 4 years. I sent money to my folks for 4 years. But me, every time I send money to my dad, I was like, Daddy, you generally act in kapatio your pesa, you acting you get for 4 years. And then later I got a job, of course, and a corporate job. And acting is also a job for me. Right now, because I'm working somewhere else and I'm working with Bishop Bar, acting is a side job for me, which given a chance that if it were like a full-time job, I would go for it. Like if it paid me enough, I would go for it. So I'm just trying to say that talent, if you mix the two, it saves you at some point.
It does.
And even now when I'm in the corporate world, I'm not doing what I studied in school. I'm not. It's skill. It comes to skill. It's something I literally learned. And when I signed up for that job, to be honest, I didn't know anything. And I ended up being ahead of a department in that thing because I just researched, I learned, I had a mentor, and I got skill, and it attracted money. It's not even my degree.
Exactly.
And you know what I like about what you're saying is that talent, the acting that looked like how some you're wasting time, what you don't realize is that you're learning disciplines that will be transferable. So whether it's acting, whether it's a sport, that discipline of practicing is a discipline of learning a new skill that you'll transfer to now a corporate job. So never, and just to speak to parents, guardians, or even you who is feeling, mali nimefika, I can't learn something new. Get those skills that you can transfer the disciplines and be a multifaceted person.
Exactly. And you know, the thing is culture. It also just boils down to culture and just what you've set around for yourself. Because I've met people, maybe even from other countries, someone got to 40 and they're like, oh, I feel like starting this new discipline. I feel like learning just how to like cook kabisa, be a professional chef. And they start that journey. And within 2-3 years, that person is like, they're like, so when did you start this? And that's at 40. You know, there are people who get to 50 and they're like, oh, I feel like I want to venture into fashion and design. But now, here's a case where I meet people who you're barely, hata ujaingia third floor, but you're so comfortable, you're done. Mina fanyanga hivi, hata inanga pesa. Ikitu, by the way, I don't know, I'm doomed. And you're just 30. So, I feel like people should just open up their minds and create that culture where you're like, if I want to become this thing, I just need like maybe 4 years.
10,000 hours.
Exactly.
Yes.
And small wins, small success, big success.
And then, sorry to interrupt you, but back to what you are saying, our Ministry of Education, because the way the curriculum is structured, we are excellent in cramming just for the exams, the more Kenyans and everything. I think part of expanding your mind is read. Start reading. If you're watching videos, watch videos of people who made it like in your area, or you get, like you will, I like that, shameless plug, read books, no, but seriously, I think there's a place where reading, when you hear other people's stories, it also speaks to you and you're there like, oh, okay, so if this person could do it at 43 when they were, why can't I,
So another thing that I want us to talk about, now that we're talking about campus and education and what, and I think Maureen touched on it when she mentioned about how nowadays people, part of mental health issues are social issues, like people staying in toxic relationships. And we've had cases of young people. I think we in Kenya, in the Kenyan campuses, we've known or experienced or seen people either being killed, committing suicide, or among themselves, but especially in romantic relationships. So what is this thing that is making us youth, or is making youth, young people per se, not even out of campuses, be in toxic relationship in the first place, and not only that, being in toxic relationship, but to the extent of trying to kill somebody because they rejected me, because I'm not able to handle a no, I come and finish you off.
I love it. Thank you for that question. So that's why I said I like the question because it brings out a clear picture of what's shaping our relationships, what's shaping how we engage, and what's shaping that for the youth. Social media, goals, couple goals, music, you know, the trends. There's an agenda being pushed, you know, and that's what's shaping now how we see things nowadays, you know. And so from there now, we get all these issues coming in. People getting into toxic relationships. People didn't sit down to see the reality of it. What does this thing really look like? But people were just caught up in this thing for, you know Kina Nani, you know I watch their podcast every day, you know Nani, I want to be like them. Couple goals.
Not only couple goals, but I think one thing that I realized in TikTok recently, and I think I started calling people out who share certain reels or TikTok, because we have until you look keenly into a certain TikTok, you'll see that we're trying to normalize hitting each other. Like you'll see like at TikTok, somebody saying something funny and then the couple slapping them or what, and then it's supposed to be funny. But you know, most of the time we are internalizing that thing. So next time I can be able to do that to my partner and see mbaya, see what TikTok wanafanyaga. And it's normal. If people, you know, we normalize, and that is the power of media. Whatever we constantly interact and see is what we believe it's
exactly.
normal.
And that is why I don't laugh at some jokes and people tell me you're too uptight. There are some jokes that are not jokes at all. It's like someone telling you, kona kichwa and then they like, when really you kona kichwa. It's stupid to laugh at that joke. What do you mean? Like, that person is insulting you. It's supposed to be a joke. So these things that we say, you know, there's just some bad jokes, like what you've said, or someone just making some ill jokes about women or about men, and it's trendy. We have to do it because it's trending on TikTok and everywhere. And you have to laugh. Fine, we will do that. Let me use an example of dark skin and blonde. There's a time it was really trending. Dark skin avocado kwa hotel, kwa Movenpick Hotel, and it's supposed to be funny. And if you don't laugh at it, people will be like, stop being uptight, it's just a joke. But you know, we internalize those things subconsciously. We do. We do. And that is why right now, me and the light skin, whether, like, I think like 80% of people in this room would think I am brighter than that light skin. Just because I'm dark and she's light, they'll think she's a blondie.
I mean, because blondies are stereotyped to be dumb.
They're stereotyped to be dumb, and it's a joke. But then it settles in your subconscious, and you make your life decisions with that information in the back of your mind. That's why we should be very careful with these jokes that we laugh at.
Exactly.
And I think also like we have, I think with this, I don't know if it's with the other generation or whatever generations are there, but we have normalized like being single is a crime. You know, so everyone wants to run away from. It's like shame. Why are you single? It's like you should be ashamed of yourself.
Going on in your
life. And you're single. Wow. So like, I think we need to, you know, we need to normalize being powerful with ourselves when we are by ourselves. Because there's also that aspect of like somebody coming to complete you. I don't see it like that. I feel like you are already a complete person. The other person is coming to complement you. So can we just, it's like stigma. Can we stop stigmatizing single people? And me being one of them, you know, like, can you stop stigmatizing?
Hashtag Instagram at
give you her number.
Slide kwa DM.
Can we stop stigmatizing us? We're not gonna be single for forever.
No, for now.
Preach.
You know that.
I think it also
Yeah.
speaks to, just adding to what everyone is saying, that shameless plug, if you don't mind me saying, your social status does not determine your worth. Meaning,
To bring the camera closer so that
Yeah.
you can see.
yeah, that you don't need a person to validate you.
Yeah.
So there's a place where, just echoing what everyone is saying, that your self-worth, your identity does not come from you being in a relationship or lack thereof. And to know that by the time you're getting into that relationship, you need to be so whole as an individual,
Yeah.
so that then that relationship will not be toxic, and because then if you don't, it means the baggage and the things you refuse to deal with. Two people coming together because of trauma bonding is why we are seeing a rise in things like narcissism and, you
But
know.
I also think that we need to shift the spectrum a little bit, because I may be healthy, right? But some people are not healthy, and you cannot control love, right?
Yeah.
So what happens that I cannot control love, I'm healthy, but then I get into a relationship with somebody who is toxic, who is a bully, who demeans me, who does all these kind of things, and I'm not able to get out of this relationship because I'm scared, or it's like threatening, and that is why we end up having people killing themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, I also have something to say to single people. Since now okay, let me not say you've decided to be single before you come for me. But
No, I
since
have
now,
not decided.
since now that you're single, just, you are, maybe you've decided, or, that's the situation. Then don't hurt people in the process of being single. You know, people who are, especially my brothers, people who are single, but you have like 7 people who don't think you're single.
Yeah.
You know those people? Yeah. Yeah.
So for me to maybe just to dive a little bit deeper on what you asked, sometimes I also think awareness of self-aware and just even being aware of the kind of relationship you are in can help you, to not end up in news that you start someone or you did this. So sometimes it's just to maybe understand yourself, understand your partner, and then know the kind of relationship you are in and find solutions for that. For example, in any relationship, we all have emotional needs, and you guys are mental health people, so you might understand some of these needs. For example, one of the biggest needs in a relationship, it differs, but what I think cuts across is security in a relationship. Yeah. So you are in a relationship where someone makes you feel secure. You can say this, how you can express yourself. You can talk to them and tell them, hey, hiko hivi na hiko hivi. You can notice in my relationship I have security. In my relationship there's another one which is emotional need. You can help me. There's meaningfulness. You want to be in a relationship where you're feeling like
Sense of belonging.
some sense of meaningfulness. See, unakanga tu upewa. I don't bring anything to the table. These days people want to actually sell the table, So lazima mimi nitauza hiyo table, msiniambie. But then it's a joke, but then in real sense, meaningfulness in a relationship is an emotional need.
Yeah.
When you feel you are meaningful in this relationship, your relationship it can be a little bit better. And there's also evolution where you have the freedom to express yourself, the freedom to go out and do this, the freedom to actually do these things. So some of these emotional needs, if you do not have them in your relationship, and you have not dived deeper to know, I don't have this, utakuwa tunapata symptoms, you're just mad, you're just angry. But if you know this is one of those things, maybe you can work on it and get answers on the
What
same.
we are going to do, and this is for the youth of the society, we need to be having this discussion, because we have good stories to tell, but the time does not allow us to tell these stories. You need to bring us back here, not for next year, for another youth summit.
Yeah.
We want to be back here again. So I think as you're closing down, we are going to have one final word, and the one final word can be, what is your key takeaway advice to young people outside listening to us who are going through mental illness? What is your opinion on self-care, the most affordable self-care that you can advise people to take? And just that, but it is under 1 minute. So I want to see the most creative person amongst us, who you can utilize that 1 minute.
All right.
We start with you?
Sure. I mean, for every young person out there, self-awareness, that's what you said, self-awareness is key. And then jijue, work on that, just self-awareness, knowing who you are as a person, what you like, what you don't like, where you want to go, who you want to be, who you want to be remembered as when you leave this place, and find out your purpose, why were you put here on earth. Investigate those things before you even move to do all these big things like we're talking about marriage, you know, and all that. And for that young person out there, or anyone who's listening to me and you're going through, you're not okay, you're going through a season where you feel like something's wrong, sikwangi hivi, kuna kitu iko off, you're not alone, hauko solo. And the biggest lie the enemy will try and use is tell you that you're alone in this, you're feeling this alone, you can't get out of this. For me, I just want to let you know that you're not alone and you can get help, and help is out here. Reach out to someone, reach out to the nearest person, reach out even to, reach out to anyone, and just, you can get the help that you need.
Yeah. Thank you. You took 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's try and see how much minutes.
If you don't mind me saying, you matter, you are worthy, you are loved, you are not alone, that no matter what it is that you're going through, this is not the end of your story, that there is someone who cares for you. And if you're at the place where you feel like giving up, I need you to survive, and I need you to know you can get through this day. Simple things that you can do. I just want you to get coloring pages, just color. That alone will help you not keep everything in your mind. Know that you're loved, and know that we need you whole.
Yes, thank you, Okay, that was nice. Yeah, so for me, I'd just say that every human being has weaknesses and strengths, and whatever you feel that you have if you feel that you have weaknesses and they're weighing you down, it is not unique to you. Even the person that you look up to has weaknesses and strength. You can focus on your strength. You can embrace all of them. Embrace your weakness. Embrace your strength. Work on it if you have the energy. If you don't just listen to how other people have worked on their weaknesses, because that is in itself is working on your weaknesses. And then you need to know that you are whole. Whatever happens to you, you are not what happens to you. What happens to you is independent of you. So if something tragic or so bad happened to you, it doesn't make you tragic or bad. They're just events that happened to you, and you are still valuable no matter what happens to you. You can always stay valuable. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I think for me it's just emphasizing on what on what Kare has said. You are worthy. And also, if you're going through something, healing is a journey. And that means there will be bumps, there will be, rough roads. There'll be moments you're waking up and you're feeling like you're okay. Other moments, like I wake up sometimes and I tell my friends, I hope this part will be that thing. I tell my friends, I feel like a piece of shit. There are moments you're going to wake up, you're okay. Others, you're feeling like you're a piece of shit. And that's totally okay. That's a journey. So go through the journey, feel the emotions, feel everything that comes with it, and know that you're a conqueror. It's not that you're failing, because sometimes you wake up and you're not feeling okay. It's not failure, it's a journey. So for me, it's you're worthy. And always remember that healing is a journey. It's not a one-day thing, and it's never going to be a one-day thing.
Yeah.
Thank you. You've had people. So my final words, and thank you all for this amazing conversation. I actually enjoyed being a moderator. And one thing I want to say is that as much as you're feeling all this, it's okay to reach out for any kind of psychosocial support. If coaching works for you, if seeing counselors work for you, if engaging with different mental health professionals work for you, please do it, because it is for your own well-being. So I know there's a lot of stigma around people seeking psychosocial support, talking to mental health practitioners, but if it is what you need, you have to do that for the sake of your own mental health. So let's get out of our comfort zone, let's seek out the support that we need to seek, and actually let's try and embrace other concepts like self-care, reparenting, things that were not there but we need them so that we can be better human when it comes to our mental health. And that said, there's some institution you can reach out for mental health services like Nivishe Foundation. We usually work well with the Africa Youth Engagement Society, yes. So in case you need psychosocial support, mental health support, you can reach out to them and then they can direct you to us or reach out to Nivishe Foundation's social media platforms. With that said, asanteni sana. I hope you enjoyed and learned from us, and we're hoping to be back soon to have this conversation. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Where can we get the book?
At Chania Avenue, so maybe we'll put the details.
Chania, tuko Bogota, tuko
Worldwide.
Hey, yo.
Coming soon.
Hey, sawa Kare.
Can I know that's my phone?